for today's cup of coffee with Scream.
Oh!
I didn't realize that leeches were an unpopular subject.
They're not exactly in vogue right now.
Why not? They're fascinating. They're fascinating.
They're disturbing to a good portion of people.
I don't think that I realized. And a lot of times, this is what happens. When somebody is goth by nature, we're not talking the makeup and all that shit. We're talking the essence of goth.
Yeah.
We forget that other people are not like us.
That is true. That is very true.
Until
when the normies...
And then you look up and somebody has this horrified look.
It's like...
yeah. And it's like, what?
You'd want to do the leech therapy. How dare you? That's fucking gross.
It's fascinating.
They're slugs with teeth.
They are. Well, yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah.
yeah. They're slugs with teeth that suck your blood.
They do. They do. But they're useful. There are so many things that are useful. But I think also because of my background and my training, and I forget other people have not had those same experiences.
Yeah.
Or even can relate to those experiences.
Yeah.
Such as medical squeamishness.
When you work in the medical field, you basically have to get rid of that squeamishness.
There's no squeamishness left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
not
exposed
usually.
to everything.
You have to, and to allow somebody, even at some of the lowest points in their life, to be kind and to let them have dignity. That was always important to me.
Yeah. Well, it's something that is necessary.
Yes.
Because you don't want to embarrass someone.
No, and it's like, because you do truly think, oh dear God, please. First of all, it's that prayer. Don't ever let this happen to me. And dear God, please let me allow this person to understand I'm doing the best that I can, to be compassionate, to be kind, to be loving. Because it's a human being. They just in a really bad shape.
Yeah.
I always dealt with blood better than I did other substances.
Yeah, blood is more manageable. It doesn't give off a smell or grotesque, like, ugh.
Yes. And that is one of the things as far as odors. And people are going to be going, my God, they're going off on another tangent. It's spooky stuff.
It's medical spooky.
It is medical spooky. And that is something that everybody can relate to, is medical spooky. It does hit home. And usually if something has an odor and your body, the response, that revulsion, that is often to sit there and let somebody know, hey, this could be potentially dangerous, be cautious of this, and you have to overcome that.
Something is wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the yellow mushrooms or the red mushrooms in the forest.
Which one? Don't, unless you know a mushroom is safe, do not go foraging.
The red ones are usually poisonous.
Yeah.
The yellow ones, you have to, like, literally, like the caution signs, you got to err on the side of caution with those.
Yeah, that's the reason I eat the stuff out of the supermarket. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's...
Or we could grow our own
There
mushrooms.
are too many mimics out there on mushrooms.
Yeah, way too many.
Yeah, and I'm like, I do not trust myself. Now, our buddy Blue, he does know how to forage and which mushrooms that are safe and which ones are not. He's done that for years.
That's awesome.
Yes. He will go out there and he will gather the things and he will put them on. He will make little pizzas and stuff like that. Brilliant. He's a brilliant person.
Portobello mushroom.
These were, I think, even the puff balls, before they when they're in a solid form, do not take this for gospel, that those can be edible.
You know, I heard that too, but I don't know how valid that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that.
No, what's the mushrooms that grow under trees or underground that you have to dig up that people really love?
Truffles.
Those are a delicacy.
Truffles.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that they used to hunt those with hogs.
Yeah.
That they could smell them.
How does this go with leeches?
Nothing. Just random. I did take my Strachera, I think. But going back to, fungi screws with some people, too.
People eat dead mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Living mushrooms eat dead people.
That's true. It's a cycle of life.
Yeah.
But it's just odd as far as different people being squeamish about different things. And sometimes you never know what is, you just never know.
Yeah. You never do.
But Kid and I, we had we got the group rate on the clinic today.
We did. We got a dual session.
And at least when you have the same provider, that can be helpful.
Yeah.
Because that you can go in and relay information. And that's exactly what I do. I go in and relay information. And yes, Kid should have been given an antibiotic last week.
We all knew that.
Mm-hmm. That his ear infection is acute.
Loves it.
At least the membrane, the tympanic membrane or eardrum was still intact. That was a good thing.
Yeah, it has not ruptured. Mm-hmm. Please, Lord, do not let it rupture, please.
You've already got, as far as the steroids and the antibiotic, so more than likely that will begin to take effect pretty quickly.
Because if my eardrum ruptures, I'm pretty much fucked then.
Not always. I mean, and he does this. He's like, how do we get on the mushrooms? Well, because I'm medicated and he's not. It's one of those, it can be repaired. But it's, a lot of times it's a surgical thing. That was not my area. That was not my field of concentration.
I got you.
Yeah. He's got medication. I've got medication. I at first was feeling better today, and I thought, I'm good.
Had a bag of medication.
And yeah, we did. And then it was like later this evening. And why is it that symptoms worsen as it gets close to sundown?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Because it worsens with mental disorders too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're neurotic, oh shit, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I am neurotic.
Yes. Anyhow. But it's like my symptoms had basically gone away. But I went ahead, saw the doctor, it's like, yes, I got the ear and throat and all that crud too. So different. And it's like, just give me a C-pack. I know what I can take and what I can't. It's easier for me to tell them what I can take.
Yeah.
But by the time that we got home, the swelling, the soreness, all that stuff had started again.
It hurts.
Yeah. And it was, I couldn't even complete my, dinner because it was just, yeah.
The pain.
Yes. And so, first dose of Zithromax and some Advil.
Bogospentin?
Yes.
What?
Z-Pack. Zithromax is the technical term. It's an antibiotic that is commonly used for sinus infections.
Loves it. Why do they not just put, who actually uses Latin now? Why don't they just put this in?
Medical people and lawyers, doctors and lawyers.
Because they don't want the common people to understand what this stuff is?
And chemists. Although oldest kid wanted to argue that was primarily Greek. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Latin. It's Latin. Because it is a matter of the prefix and the suffix and everything like that. Because each part of it has its own, it's when you're building a word that somebody who is trained in that language understands the totality of that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But people within that profession, they forget that not everybody understands and speaks Latin.
That's what I'm saying. Who actually speaks Latin now?
This is the part.
Because I'm pretty sure a lot of lawyers don't even understand
the lawyers. Are you kidding? They do not give a shit. If you're a lawyer out there, I'm sorry. If you're one of the ones that gives a shit, let me know. Because they have been very few and far between that I have ever met, and I never wanted to have to deal with them, but I've had to deal with them.
Yeah. Loves it.
But people forget that this is the thing with the medical profession, any kind of profession, that the people that they are seeing do not do that on a daily basis. as the professionals do.
Most people are not studying this shit.
Right.
Normies do not study this shit.
Right. And so it's a matter of adjusting the language and putting whatever it is into terms that people can understand and use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
But it was rather interesting, the healthcare provider, while I was in there, that he and I were speaking. It was shop talk.
And I'm just sitting there playing my Game Boy. I'm like, yep, y'all do your thing. Y'all do your medical speaky thing.
But as far as there were certain topics, that kid, he's got medical squeamish. And oldest kid, my God, the medical squeamish.
He cannot handle it.
Oh.
He can't handle it
No.
whatsoever. See,
At all.
I can handle some of it. But when it comes to, like, actual surgeries and shit like that, no.
It's fascinating.
I cannot watch flesh be cut open.
It's fascinating.
Stuff like that. Dead ass, I would rather watch an autopsy than a surgery on a live person.
The autopsies, bless. It's sudden and random.
I tried to mute. So you're going to get half sneeze there.
Right. That was one of the things that when I was in high school, and I thought there for a long time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a doctor. And on TV one time, they used to show stuff on TV that they do not now.
Because a lot of people have medical squeamishness.
I think it's just that people have gotten really weak.
That's part
honestly.
of it. That is part of it.
But they did show part of an autopsy, and it was just they got to a certain point, and I'm like, and it really made me rethink. And what it was the dissection. It was the removal of the flesh from the face. And when you're a teenager, horrible. And it's like, and this was before they had all these damn slasher movies and stuff. That didn't come out until later.
Listen, I watched Chucky's face get cut in half by a giant scythe. But he's a doll, so like
right.
That's not the same. I mean, he turns. Like, literally, the longer he's in that doll body, he does start to become human. He basically turns into a midget.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, it would have to be.
Yeah.
But you never know what is going to affect whomever at whatever age.
Right.
Whether it's kid or teenager or young adult or whatever. Because there are things that you can't comprehend. And when that happens, it does shock you. So we can have experiences throughout our life that could be considered traumatizing. But it's like to figure out what is the trauma. Was it because it was something shocking that you didn't know what could happen? Did it happen to you, or did you observe it? If you observed it, find out exactly what you're deeming to be trauma. Because you found out that flesh can be removed?
See, my issue is, literally, if flesh is being removed from a living person, I have an issue with that.
Right.
I really don't like that. But it's weird, because if it's a corpse, it's not that same ick, because the person...
can't feel it.
It's no longer... Yeah, the person's no longer in said body, so, like, it's not the same.
I get it. I do. And it's just like, I was talking to a therapist at one point, and she's like, surgeons have a degree of sadism. They have to be able to do their job.
Yeah.
Because most people to sit there and, like I said, as far as that is not where you want an empath as a surgeon.
You don't want a Pisces,
right?
An empathic Pisces as a surgeon,
or doing any of these things. I mean, some of these psychological labels, if you want to call that, if that person is placed in a proper occupation, does not have to be a detriment.
Right. Right.
So, You have to think of things like that. And it's just like kids. Like if this kid over here, I think at one point he said something about counseling, and I'm like, nope. Where you are kind and empathetic, you will lose your mind.
I'll lose my mind and probably do more damage to other people as well.
Well, it's one of those, there are times when you're trying to help somebody that has a psychological problem. And this is what's going on in our world right now. People are not wanting to tell the truth. It is always dangerous to give in to somebody else's delusions.
Yeah, that is true.
And we're seeing that. That is to no one's benefit. And when you love someone enough to tell them the truth, and you're not going to be popular.
Yeah, no. A lot of people that just tell the flat out blunt truth they aren't usually popular.
No.
But you know what? It is needed.
Mm-hmm. But to sit there and go, you have many talents. It's not that you would not be wonderful listening to someone, but it is to recognize this. You will lose yourself in somebody else's pain and suffering. That is not where you need to be.
You're right. I do better in retail.
Retail is okay. Art is okay. Music is okay. I mean, those are wonderful things for Pisceans to do.
I do better. Like, I think, speaking from a Piscean standpoint, it is better for us for a good portion to be in a more so creative field.
Mm-hmm. Because y'all are the dreamers. I mean, that's it. Use that. And we've got so many people that are in jobs that they're miserable because that's not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's just like with the medical squeamish. If you cannot deal with that, do not go in the medical field. Or at least if you want to go in the medical field, go into like coding or something like that, doing the medical coding. And everybody hates the insurances.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And if you work at one of those call centers that deals with insurance all the time, even they hate their job the majority of the time.
Absolutely. And that is one of those that AI would be better. It would be better for somebody's mental health than to have to take those calls.
If only they gave more options.
Well,
and they gave those call centers proper AI.
Well, yeah.
Grok level AI.
Yeah. It's coming. Mm-hmm.
I think, no joke, there's a hotel over there in Japan that is run by robots.
Mm-hmm.
A human owns it, obviously, but like the faculty in that hotel is robots.
Well, I think part of that right now is the novelty of it.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of the novel. That is part of it. Like, literally, it's the robot hotel, so, like,
right.
That is the novelty. But you go up, you talk to a robot, and you check in that way.
That was like a day or so ago on X, I saw where it was a robot surgeon. Would you trust an AI robot surgeon, or would you rather have a human?
Is an AI robot more accurate?
Yes.
So then, yeah, I would trust a robot.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have to worry about the AI coming in half asleep or tired or grumpy from, night before, arguing with spouse, being hungover, snorting cocaine. Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. More often than people would ever want to know. So within the medical profession and even the squeamishness, you don't have to, Grok doesn't get squeamish.
It doesn't. It doesn't have that ability.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's embarrassing to try to explain certain things to another human.
Yeah, that's like getting very... I do not want to go into detail what it was.
That was so funny because I was explaining to healthcare provider, I said, this is the kid that with the homeschooling, when it got to the biology and the anatomy and stuff, and I was all gung-ho. And he's like, none of it. None of it.
Was my face turning red down there at the doctor's? Did you
probably.
notice? Did you notice?
I don't know.
It felt like my face was turning red.
Probably. And it's odd how different people, and you never know. And he doesn't know either.
Well, the thing is, I've never been comfortable talking about this stuff, it's biology stuff in front of you, like that. I don't feel comfortable discussing that shit in front of any family.
Okay.
So it's like, what?
It was always just basic biology with kids. Schools should not be teaching your children body parts. Parents should be teaching their children body parts. You're a boy, you're a girl, you've got this, 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 and this.
I know that.
But it's like, it is so funny. You've got parents that they can't do it. If they're embarrassed, if they are squeamish, they teach kids how to be squeamish. They teach to sit there, and this was always a thing. This is the technical term for this body part. You need to know this so that when you go to a medical provider, you can explain to them and talk to them what body part this is. It wasn't hard for me. But I'm odd.
It's not that you're odd. It's that with that sort of stuff, you are more open. With me, it's just built in.
Which is odd. I'm like, how did this happen? How did this happen?
Ask God. I don't know what happened there.
But it was so fun. And we were able to edify a healthcare provider about blowing smoke up somebody's ass. He was not aware of that.
Literally, tobacco smoke at that.
Uh-huh. With billows.
Get that billow out. Shove it up your ass.
Yeah.
Well,
tell somebody.
That is where the saying comes from.
Guarantee you there are people out there. There's probably some kind of Reddit thing that people are part of that do that.
Mama, there was someone on My Strange Addictions that did the coffee enemas.
Yes, I remember that. And I'm like, don't do that.
Her and her husband.
I remember seeing that. And they were addicted to that. And it was... I'm thinking,
you can only do those things so many times a week.
Yes,
so many times a day.
You will totally screw up your gut flora.
Yeah. This is a lovely topic for the morning.
It's okay. But let us know, are you one of the medical squeams? Are you squeamish? Did you get upset about us talking about the leeches?
Listen, I can deal with the leeches more so than, I found out where to get leeches.
Yeah. Oh, I knew that. Omega knows where to get many things. Yeah.
You tell me what I have done with my life, in my life. Would I get this information on my own without asking other people?
You could order them. We put the link right there.
I will get them.
USA.
I will get them for you for free.
I think that, let me tell you something. They've got us back to, on some of the health care, honest to God, that it is so bottom rung. Why should we not go back to the old ways? Seriously.
I do not want someone drilling a hole in my head.
Well, it might help. It depends on the size of the hole and the location of where it was drilled in the head.
You know what? If you put an
You've got to be precise about these things. It's not just random.
Listen, unless I'm getting an antenna installed, okay?
Oh. Be kind.
Which there is a person that did get an antenna installed so that he could see color.
Yeah, I thought that was way cool.
Yeah, he's an artist.
Of course he is. Of course he is. So be
really weird.
Be kind with us when we go off on some tangents and you're going, Orlando, honey.
Our people are kind.
They are. We have some of the most wonderful viewers,
good
listeners. They are.
Listen, I may not reply all the time, but I do read them.
Because I'm in here hollering, hey, so-and-so hollered at you that is specifically for you. Go in there and answer them. And in 5 seconds, it's gone. Because he's unmedicated with the ADHD.
Listen, I don't like medications. I don't like medications.
Oh, God. Anyhow, hopefully his little ear will drain. Oh,
I would really like it to drain. This has been, I think, the first actual ear infection that I have gotten in quite a long time.
Yeah, I think it is. And it's like the fact that they did not... And that was one of the things to sit there and go, when it is that level of ear infection, the chances of it resolving itself without an antibiotic are slim.
Yeah. And also, when you have one ear blocked, it is very disorientating.
Yeah. Yeah. You had problems with dizziness and balance and stuff?
Yes, but also it's just a matter of if I cannot hear properly,
Right.
it's like I'm in a whole different world almost. Like
Sure.
like my whole plane of existence is altered.
Sure it is.
It
I
puts
think
me
that's-
almost in like a, and I don't like that. Like
Right.
it's like a dreamlike state. Like you're walking.
Feels isolated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not cool. It's
No.
very like I don't mind being in my head for a certain extent of time, but if you are not able to hear properly and you're forced to just hear your thoughts, those things get to you.
They can be. But it's also a matter of going in there and getting some resolution. Finding out why they are, what they're really trying to say. You just sit there and go, yeah, okay, I acknowledge your existence, go away. That's true of any thought.
Yeah.
To sit there and go, I see you, go someplace else. You don't own me. You don't have license over me. People need to learn. That's how you
What was that
learn to
song?
have emotional maturity.
What was that song? You don't own me.
Uh-huh.
I'm not just one of yours.
To a degree, thoughts are like any other supernatural entity. You have to invite them in.
But also, yeah, that is true. But also, I like to sing. And if I cannot hear, because to an extent, you do have to sort of hear yourself.
Sure you do, through the skull and,
Through
the
both.
bones. Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot tell what notes you're hitting and
Yeah.
what you are not.
But give it a day or two. This hopefully will resolve itself. He's also going to send kid for scan to make sure as far as the migraines that nothing weird is going on there.
Wow,
We got answers. I had been asking questions for years. And we needed to go to a different healthcare provider, which is what we have done, and this one is very effective.
Yeah. Watch, I'll get the CT scan and be like, huh, you do got a defective brain.
No, it's an MRI. That's what they're going to send you for on that.
Or MRI, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
Be
you
like,
don't.
huh, you do got weirdness in the
No.
brain.
No. Everybody's having paranormal. Everybody's
got
having
brain
supernatural.
worms.
God, I hope that brain worms. God, wouldn't it be horrible?
Pinworms.
I wonder how they would diagnose that. They would almost have to have some kind of, I was thinking, some kind of contrast. I don't know. I'd have to look and see
Pinworms.
what type of
Pinworms.
thing somebody. Everybody's going, oh my God, they ended up talking about brain worms. Bobby Kennedy had one removed.
Yeah, I know that. That's how I found out about brain worms.
You want to tell the people?
I also
more
found out
anything
about
else?
scurvy through this one girl was like, it's all shit, it's shits and giggles, it's all fun and games until somebody gets scurvy.
We don't have scurvy. We do not have scurvy. Actual scurvy.
No.
Tell them where we can be found.
You can find us on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube at Rolanda's Cup of Coffee with Scream. Also check her out on X, previously known as Twitter, at Rolanda, COCWS. You can also find me on there too if you want. I do not post as often as she does, but
He's
you
not
know,
felt well.
No, I haven't been able to sit at my computer like I wanted to.
Yeah.
So that's where I do most of my social media scrolling.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can check me out on X, Zombini Alien.
For those of you all who have given us as far as thoughts and prayers, thank you so much.
Thank you. They
Cannot
are-
imagine how much that means to us.
They are really...
Your
seriously.
encouragement is just beyond the price of rubies
Yeah.
each and every day.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah. Know that you are loved. Treat other people the way you would like to be treated. And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next cup.
Yep, yep, yep.
Bye.